There are some Otsutsuki abilities that both Boruto and Kawaki have access to now, and nobody is talking about it at all. These are not the most flashy abilities, but they are some key abilities and hacks that Ikemoto and Kijimoto have both indirectly confirmed that fuel the massive power and strength that Boruto and Kawaki now have as Otsutsukis. I guarantee you that at least 2 of these abilities you might not have been aware of. So before we jump into the video, hype up this video, and share this video to anyone who dares to downplay Boruto and Kawaki's strength. But the first ability that I have to mention is the fact that Boruto and Kawaki as Otsutsukis have access to the 6th path chakra. And this is one of the major reasons why Otsutsuki characters scale above the majority of shinobis that we have seen, especially in the Naruto series. But to understand this point, we first have to come to discuss exactly who and what shinobis truly are. From a biological perspective, shinobi are born with the innate ability to wield chakra and manifest it quite early on in their lives. This is all to say that Kaguya's chakra has been diluted, as she ended up having children with humans that inherited her chakra. And the children that she had, being Hagoromo and Hamura, they also have descendants that ended up dilute their chakra even more, creating this subsection of humans who have the ability to wield chakra. The closer and closer you get to the source, the less diluted that chakra becomes. It becomes more pure and free chakra that can be manipulated. That's where we get Hagoromo, a 1st gen chakra inheritor, who gives his chakra to Naruto and Sasuke. His chakra is what gave them this big increase in power because he has a purer level of chakra than any other human would have in that chakra lineage, as he is closer to the source. And this chakra behaves quite similarly to that of the Otsutsuki's. This is the simplified version of the entire chakra distribution, but I'm sure that you guys get the point by now. But another major point about the Otsutsuki's, and what we basically learn from a character like Kaguya, is that she's able to utilize her chakra freely, meaning that there is no chakra that is wasted when she is utilizing it. We see in the data books that multiple of her abilities are referencing the fact that she is freely able to use 100% of her chakra, highlighting her chakra control. This isn't just because of the fact that she has the purest form of chakra, but it is because of her Otsutsuki genetic makeup, which is ultimately very different from that of a regular human or shinobi. So me even saying that Boruto and Kawaki have 6th path chakra would be a downplay, because this implies that they have regular human bodies, which is no longer the case. 6th path chakra would be a human compatible expression of the Otsutsuki pure chakra / power, but without the actual physical Otsutsuki body. The best way to describe it is the human variant of that Otsutsuki chakra. That's why Otsutsuki do not need a specific mode, and it is why Boruto and Kawaki do not showcase physical changes, because they are not adapting to the system like we see a character like Naruto do, where he has a mode when he is using those powers. For Boruto and Kawaki, they don't showcase that because it is innate, it is their default settings. And I'm not talking about karma at all, by the way, because this is a completely different conversation that has to do with Boruto and Kawaki being more like Momoshiki and Ishiki exactly, not just being regular Otsutsukis. But this would explain multiple things that we see about Boruto and Kawaki, and why we see them have such a huge power up after the Code Arc. Code claims that after the Code Arc, Boruto and Kawaki have become full Otsutsuki's, and it is one of the major reasons why we see that Code ends up changing the coordinates to the 10,000th dimension, because as they end up maturing, they would unlock special Otsutsuki abilities. In that specific period, they were still maturing as Otsutsukis. Before the time skip, they couldn't fly like Amado noted. But after the time skip, we see that they reached that full maturation, which is why we see characters like Boruto and Kawaki fly. And this whole fact that the Otsutsuki's inherently have this 6th path like chakra is the entire reason why a lot of the 6th path techniques that Naruto, Sasuke, and Madara end up manifesting are very similar to what the Otsutsuki's are regularly able to do. Naruto is able to fly just like all Otsutsuki's have been able to do. Naruto can sense other people's life force, just like Ishiki could see the remaining life force that he had when he was fighting versus Baryon Naruto. Sasuke is able to use space-time ninjutsu, just like characters like Momoshiki, Ishiki, Kinshiki, and etc. have been able to do time after time. Sixth Path Chakra gives characters like Madara insane regeneration. Just like the Ōtsutsuki are functionally immortal and can live for thousands of years. And with the karma, they can beat death itself, because even if they are killed, they can come back in somebody else. So an easy way to understand all of this would be like this. Ōtsutsuki possess innate 6th path level chakra, rather than the derivative 6th path chakra that we see characters like Naruto, Sasuke, and Madara manifest. In addition to that, Ōtsutsuki have a physical body that allows them to utilize their chakra at a higher degree. They can freely utilize all of their chakra, 100% of it, just like characters like Kaguya have been able to showcase. This leads me perfectly to my next point, which is that Ōtsutsuki have natural immunities due to the differences in their bodies compared to that of shinobi. The first one being Genjutsu. Genjutsu doesn't work on Ōtsutsuki because their body are innately different. I didn't want to mention it in my Boruto video versus Madara, but Omnipotence proves this very own same fact. Ida's Omnipotence, which is the highest level Genjutsu, the purest form of Genjutsu that we have ever seen, because we already know that ninjutsu is based off Shinjutsu abilities. So if this Omnipotence memory swapping ability did not work on the Ōtsutsuki, as it is one of the major requirements, it doesn't work on any Ōtsutsuki, this tells us that a regular normal level Genjutsu that utilizes ninjutsu and chakra will not work on Ōtsutsuki. This is the reason why we do not see Sasuke attempt Genjutsu on characters like Kaguya, on characters like Ishiki and Jigen, cause it simply wouldn't work. Genjutsu relies on manipulating chakra flow in the brain and various parts of the body. The problem is that Ōtsutsuki's chakra system does not work on normal humans, just like we discussed. And the fact that Ōtsutsuki have a perfect level of chakra control prevents somebody from being able to disrupt their chakra using any sort of Genjutsu. So because their chakra cannot be disrupted, thus the said Genjutsu that anybody would try would simply not be able to work on Ōtsutsuki, as they are immune due to their chakra control. Another innate immunity of Ōtsutsuki is the Gentle Fist. The Gentle Fist is an overpowered ability because it hits a person's chakra points, and as Kakashi said, humans cannot defend their insides. The key distinction that Kakashi points out is the fact that humans cannot, meaning that due to the fact that Ōtsutsuki have a completely different physical structure, this logic that Kakashi applies to human cannot be assumed for the Ōtsutsuki. Thus, it could be argued that it would not work at all. In addition, characters like Naruto were able to negate the effects of the Gentle Fist due to the fact that he had Nine Tails chakra. Due to the fact that Naruto had Nine Tails chakra, he was able to continue molding chakra even after Neji had shut down all of his chakra points. With all that being said, Boruto potentially using the Gentle Fist on Kawaki is not something that I believe is quite likely to see, unless we end up seeing something completely different showcased in the Boruto series. Now the last ability that we'll be talking about is Fate Perception. And obviously, there are multiple different cool abilities that the Ōtsutsuki possess, but these are abilities that nobody ever talks about. Maybe because the story hasn't directly told us this, and it requires you to have a clear understanding of everything about Naruto that has been introduced, including the Ōtsutsuki. But when it comes to Fate Perception, it is one of the Ōtsutsuki abilities that is linked with the Byakugan, but only for Ōtsutsuki. As we have already discussed, the Ōtsutsuki are able to utilize abilities that shinobis have at a higher degree. The Byakugan, when it is used by regular shinobis like Neji, due to him being a human and not an Ōtsutsuki, he is not able to utilize it at a higher level, but he utilizes the Byakugan at a lower one. Neji is able to understand somebody's mental state by using the Byakugan. He can completely understand somebody's body language, their repressed feelings and emotions, just like he showcased in his fight versus Neji. So although a lot of people say that the Byakugan is boring and underutilized when it comes to regular shinobi, I really do believe that we will see a higher utilization of the Byakugan when it comes to the Ōtsutsuki. Because just by what we have already seen, when the Ōtsutsuki utilize the Byakugan, they can use it to a completely different level. And when we pay attention to characters like Ishiki and Momoshiki, who Kawaki and Boruto got their karma from, they utilize and manifest those Byakugan abilities slightly different from one another, meaning that there could be special Byakugan abilities that each Ōtsutsuki member ends up manifesting that is slightly different from the other. When it comes to Momoshiki and his way of utilizing the Byakugan to see fate, it is by primarily looking at the future and the fate that surrounds himself and that other person, like we see him being able to do with Boruto. Ikemoto directly tells us that Momoshiki is able to see the future surrounding himself. This is the reason why Momoshiki laughed at Naruto, saying that he couldn't pass on Kurama to the next generation, because when he looked at Boruto and examined his fate that was connected to Momoshiki, he saw that Boruto wouldn't actually end up inheriting any of Kurama's powers. But the actual case was that yes, Boruto wouldn't end up inheriting those powers. The person who would be Himawari. Now, when it comes to Ishiki, his method of fate perception using the Byakugan comes through his analyzation of a person's genetics to see what they are truly capable of doing, just like he did to Kashin Koji, and why he knew that Kashin Koji's genetics came from Jiraiya, and he saw the fate that was connected with Jiraiya, the fate of him being a star of change. These differences between Momoshiki and Ishiki is manifested in both Boruto and Kawaki, as Kawaki focuses on how he can improve his power using genetics. He focuses on the genetic side by improving his body through Amato's scientific upgrades, and it is quite likely that he will inherit Shibai cells and increase his power even more. And when it comes to Boruto, we can see that Boruto primarily focuses on the future, seeing what the future will be and making decisions based off that. He is literally working with Kashin Koji, who sees the future, and it is quite likely that Boruto will see the future for himself and then go on his own path. That's why you have to watch this video right here, as I describe exactly how Momoshiki can see fate and the future very clearly in this video.